Have you ever thought about adding some wild edibles to your culinary offerings? Hi everyone, this is Michelle, and it's Earth Week, so I thought it'd be fun to celebrate the dandelion. I love the dandelion because surprisingly, it is very nutritious, it's readily available, and it's a great starting plant if you are interested in exploring foraging or wild edibles because it's easy to recognize, which is important, and it's also a very safe plant to play around with. The entire plant is edible. You can use everything from the blooms all the way to the roots. So this is a great exercise for you and the kids to do together. They can help with the harvest, learn about plant identification, all the different parts to the plant, and then all of the delicious uses for it. So let's talk harvest. You want to harvest in an area that is free of chemicals, that hasn't been sprayed. You also want to avoid areas that are heavy with any sort of pet traffic. And when you are harvesting, some of your recipes like your jellies and your wines, you're just going to want the blooms. You're going to want to harvest these when they're nice and open. It's going to make them easier to process, and you then bring them in. Don't let them sit for too long because the longer they sit, they'll close up, which makes it difficult to remove the base from them because you just want to use the petals. So you'll harvest them up. Usually need about 4 cups to create a nice batch of jelly. The jellies are delicious. It has a flavor that's kind of resembles honey, but it's easy to create and quite tasty. For the greens, you can just use those as an addition to your salads. This time of year, they're nice and tender and young and very flavorful. You can use them in stir fry. I love to create dandelion crisps out of them. So I'll add some olive oil. I'll put some sesame seeds on there as well as some nutritional yeast. That's going to give them a nice cheesy flavor. And then I'll dehydrate them until they're nice and crispy. You can also do it in the oven at a low heat of about 170 degrees. Spread them out on a cookie tray and let them dry until they're nice and crispy. They have a delicious flavor to them, and I would compare them to probably a kale chip. But by incorporating some of these things into your culinary treats, it really makes things a lot more interesting. It makes us appreciate the things that are growing and readily available to us. The violets, you'll notice they're growing right next to those dandelions when you're out harvesting. You can use these blooms in a salad, and you can also make a lovely jelly out of that as well. Look at that color. The flavor is awesome, and you may start to look at some of these plants then as a crop versus a noxious weed.